And we try and do it once a month just so that it doesn't feel like it's all the time. But yeah, the one coming up next is the emo party.
Emo party.
Panic at the Disco.
Yep,
Yeah, I was
exactly.
thinking like Fall Out Boy,
Yep.
Dashboard
You got it.
Confessional.
It'll be playing the whole day. So
That's emo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
emo.
old.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
God.
I'm right there with you.
Those bands are in your playlist.
Yeah, but I didn't have the black nails or the
No, but it's not a. Anyway, well, oh.
life is
It's not just a
pain.
phase.
It's a lifestyle. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hot Break Craft Beer Cast. We are here on site at Lake Pleasant Brewing Company. We are back again, this time with Dustin. We're excited to talk to him. Before we get into that, I do want to introduce the Brew Crew. So with me as always, producing today is Christy. Christy, thank you so much
Of course, hello.
for all your help today. And of course, as always, JB from Vexet
Hey guys, what's up?
joining us as well. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel, which I always mess up, but it's YouTube
Vexet.
Vexet.
Yeah.
Search Vexet. Vexxet.
Again,
20.
it's on his hat.
It's
and
on the hat,
shirt,
right.
So yes.
I don't have my glasses on, so it's hard to see. But definitely check out his channel. He's got some wonderful themes and brands and things, and he does a lot of people in their passions and videos and documentaries. So definitely check it out if you get a chance. Definitely check out our YouTube channel as well. We do tips, tricks, and tutorials on YouTube. Just search Benham Brewing. Let's get into today's episode.
Completely unscripted, delightfully unfiltered, and 100% fun. Sit back, relax, and get ready to have a great time as they bring you the latest in beer news, Benham brewing updates, and general shenanigans. And now, your hosts, the famed Brew Crew.
All right, Dustin, thank you so much for allowing us to come in and interrupt your day today at Lake Pleasant Brewing Company. We've been trying to get you on for probably about a year or so now, and between our schedule and your schedule, it's kind of sometimes the twain do not meet. So I'm glad we're able to actually sit down with you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
very
Absolutely. No,
much.
I'm glad it worked out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys not just celebrated your third year, but you guys opened up in 2022. Correct?
Yep. February 22, we got open.
And it
We
was-
started the build February 21. So it
Yeah.
took us about a year to get everything going.
And you actually opened on February 11th,
Yes.
22,
Yep.
which was my birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
It's a good day.
It's all about you, obviously.
It is, obviously. How have you not learned that by now? So it took about a year to kind of do the build out and everything, and then get open
Oh, yeah.
in 2022. So you just celebrated 3 years this past February.
This coming February will be 3 years.
I'm sorry, I'm not a math wizard.
No, that's
I
all right.
apologize. Okay, so it's coming up here relatively soon, in a couple of months.
Yep.
Any kind of big plans for the February anniversary?
I mean, obviously, beer releases will be kind of the main showcase. We've got a few that we've been doing every year for our anniversary that we'll keep going, like our Element series. So our big Imperial IPA.
Yeah.
We're going to come out with Element 125 this year. Still haven't decided completely on how it's all going to work out, but that'll be one. We got a few barrel-aged beers that'll be coming out as well.
Yeah.
So those will be the main showcase. Obviously, we're big merchandise guys here, so we'll have shirts and hats and things like that, other stuff that'll be coming out. But
You do
it's
have-
always a big party.
You do
so.
have lots of merch, really, really nice merch.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably some of the nicest that I've seen. Out of all
Thank
the
you,
breweries
thank
we've
you.
been in. I mean, it's
We-
really, really nice.
We take a lot of pride in it, and it's something that we, from the beginning, wanted to sort of create somewhat of a business inside of our business.
yeah,
To be more than just beer.
Just selling
be-
beers, yeah.
Trying to build a brand, and it's been overwhelmingly positive. So we're
that's awesome.
we're very blessed in that regard. So yeah.
I mean, that's a great way too to have people that love what you guys do, and obviously you have those loyal fans and things, and they can get stuff not only to support you but to show kind of the pride
Oh,
of,
yeah.
of
No,
Lake Pleasant.
it's really cool that people spend their money to buy a product that represents our brand and
Mhm.
what we tried to build and create. And it's very humbling at times. It's really cool to like sit back and reflect and see, it was all just an idea in our heads, and it's,
Yeah.
to see it now in front of us is still, I mean, being 2.5 years in of being open is still surreal.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, speaking of beers, I did want to talk about. So, you guys just did your Oktoberfest.
Yep.
Thing, and the Marzen you guys did up this year. I think and maybe it's just my memory, but I think it's even better than one last year.
I agree.
It's really, really good.
We're always trying to do better with everything. Even
Mhm.
if we have overwhelmingly positive feedback on a beer, we're still very overly critical on everything as far as ingredients and tastes and mouthfeel and things like that. And we're always trying to constantly improve and do better. Even if it was, quote unquote, our best beer, we're still going to try and make it
Trying to
better.
make it better, and that's a
Yep.
good thing to strive for, I think,
Yeah.
continually. What is it that you're doing today? drinking as far as beer?
I have our beer, our American Light Lager.
American Light
Very
Lager.
light, easy drinking. It's my working beer, so it's the
Okay.
one I drink primarily around here because I can have a few and still function. So
Yeah, that's kind of important. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially around heavy equipment.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
that definitely helps. And then Christy, you went a little off the rails today.
Yeah, I did a seltzer. Look how pretty that looks too, but it's really good. It's refreshing.
What flavor is it?
Blackberry. I
Black
think you said?
cherry.
Black
Black
cherry. Yeah,
cherry.
no,
Cherry
it is
seltzer.
really
Wow.
good.
Now, I remember tasting when Nick kind of first started doing it about a year and a half or so ago, like,
Yep.
or he was really trying to kind of dial that in. And seltzers are tough. Not a lot of room for error. in that.
Surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
Your first few times around when we were before even we had any of this. We tried a few at home. My wife is a big seltzer fan,
Mhm.
so we tried to make one just for her, and it was actually pretty difficult. But once you kind of understand you grasp the concept of how to ferment, how to make sure you avoid off flavors, things like that.
Keep the yeast happy and out of it.
Yep,
Yeah. I mean,
yep.
it's very clear too, which a lot of seltzers that are brewed, they're very cloudy, very
We
yeasty.
so we filter all of our seltzers.
Okay.
We use a carbon filter system. We try and strip everything out as far as off flavors, and then we'll add the different flavor to the seltzer. So we make a base seltzer, and then it
And then
gets fruited
flavor
or
it.
flavor added after the fact.
I was going to say when you're filtering it, that must strip out some of the flavors. But if you're coming out with a very
We're
neutral,
trying to make it as neutral as possible.
yes, before
Yep.
the flavor, and that's a great idea.
So,
Wow.
forgive me for asking, but so the main ingredient for beer is hops. Which is the main ingredient for seltzer?
So seltzer is more or less just a fermented sugar water.
Mhm.
Okay.
There's no grain. There's no hops. So it falls into a separate category as far as calling it a beer. They had to put it in somebody's wheelhouse, and it fell into the microbrewery
Mhm.
category. So we're able to make it under our licensing, even
good.
though it doesn't have
Technically.
Hops or grain in it.
grain or
Okay.
anything in it. So, but it's kind of it's like an off category that we can make. We can also make kombucha, which we haven't tried yet. Things we've been talking about, trying to
That would be
incorporate
awesome.
kombucha.
I'd
but-
totally
Kombucha's
be
pretty
involved in
popular.
that,
So
like-
yeah, as
Yeah.
a good alternative for someone coming in that doesn't necessarily want to have something that's alcoholic, but
We've
and you
talked
could do
about
some
a-
great flavors with kombucha too.
Yeah, we've talked
Yeah.
about a seltzer with tea in it, things like that. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
we got a lot
There's
of
some good
things
ideas.
in the hopper for the
Yeah.
seltzer line. So
So let me ask you this then. So with what you guys have learned over the past 2.5 years, is there anything that surprised you in what you've learned just since you opened and now you're a little more educated, you're a little more savvy with the business and things? Is there anything that was kind of an aha moment, or has it just been a gradual progression?
I mean, we're constantly learning all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
There's never going to be a time that we're going to say we got it all figured out. I think we're a little surprised. Nick and I love drinking lagers, light lagers,
Mhm.
German beers,
Mhm.
but they're not exactly the most appealing styles. They're very difficult,
Which
to
is
move in
That's shocking to me.
in bulk, or at least on the craft side.
Yeah.
Because when we make them, they're a little more expensive,
Yeah.
for us to get a little bit of the ingredients. We're not buying in large quantities. So like us making a lot of these beers and making them the way we feel like they should be made, especially with bringing in the right yeast strains and things like that, it ends up being a pretty expensive beer. But we've been able to establish ourselves as somewhat of a lager house. We make a lot of German beers around here, and
Very
we've
classic
gained
styles.
a good
Yeah.
reputation for a lot of those styles.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that was maybe a little surprising. Our Hefeweizen was also a little bit of a surprise for us. Nick and I both are not a huge fan of the style as far as drinking them personally. I have nothing against them.
I'm the same way. I
I
just
drank a
don't,
lot of
I
Blue
I don't like
Moons when I
Hefeweizens.
first started drinking, and,
Yeah.
and kind of faded away from that. But we had a large demand with Nick and I running the bar. We hear a lot of feedback firsthand
Yeah.
from customers, and we had a lot of people that wanted to have a hef. So we made a very traditional Bavarian Hefeweizen, and it hasn't left since we made it. I think on
Wow.
I don't know, month 1, month 2. So
Well, and I think you bring up a really good point as far as getting feedback direct from the customers. But between you, Nick, and your wives and Nick's sister, like you guys are always here. You guys are always helping out. There's always somebody here, which is it's kind of humbling to see when you come in that the owners are here and they care and you're serving the beer directly to them. It's not just someone.
oh yeah.
You guys are here and you're listening, you're talking, you're always so nice and friendly. I mean, I think that's why, aside from how awesome the beers are and how clean they are and how creative you guys are with it, there's also a very friendly atmosphere with it that's genuine.
Oh yeah.
Because you guys have all have skin in the game. You're not just slinging beers, you're building a community, and your merch kind of speaks to that. And so I think that's one of the things that sets you guys apart from a lot of the craft breweries where, everybody knows who you guys are when you come in because you
Yeah.
talk to everybody, you know everybody.
It can be it can be tiring at times.
Sure.
Not more physically tiring than anything. We have a little bit of help behind the bar now, which has helped Nick and I
Yeah.
tremendously. Um, and we don't know exactly what the future is going to look like for us, but there's no possibility that him and I are not going to be involved in
Right.
some capacity
Sure.
behind the bar in front of customers. It's what we enjoy. We love talking and getting feedback, and it's community.
Yes.
It's friends. We've made a lot of people within these four walls that are very good friends of ours now, and so yeah, it's kind of like a hangout in a way,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well, and as the business grows and expands, obviously you guys need to take on different roles, wear different hats,
right.
merchandise, as far as the role of the brewery goes, right? So, there may come a point in time when, you may have to step away a little bit more, but I think just building the foundation that you guys had and how much passion you both have, not only from the beer side, but from a customer standpoint, I think that it comes across as genuine. It's not just a marketing bullshit thing.
Sure.
There's genuine heart behind it. And I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it really, really neat.
Yeah, people
And the beers
people
aren't bad
can
too.
people can definitely, read between the lines, and
Yeah.
if you're fake, I think it doesn't take very long to kind of get sniffed out.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
we obviously this is we're all in on this. So
Yeah.
Nick and I'm not sure you know or how much you know about kind of our backstory. I'm sure we've touched on it a little bit before, but
Well, we could
you
talk
know,
about
we
it. Yeah. When you guys used to work together.
yeah, Nick and I worked together for a long time, but
Yeah.
we left it all behind, and this
Yeah.
was just a kind of a passion for us. We brewed on the weekends for fun. It was a reason to get together and hang out with the families and make beer and drink and bond. It was a cool thing, and we've sort of that it sort of evolved into our mission statement and the things where we talk about where beer is a lot more than just what's in the glass.
Right.
You celebrate a good time, you celebrate a bad time.
It's a social
Hey man, you had a
beverage.
bad day, let's go grab a beer. Hey,
Yeah.
congratulations, let's go grab a
Yeah.
beer. So
Good
um
morning. Let's go grab a beer.
yeah, so it's really cool, because this is more or less just a large scale of what we did. It's just our family has grown, our brew system has grown.
A little bit.
Yeah, so it's been, again, it's surreal to kind of see it, firsthand, and we're so blessed to be where we're at.
That's
and,
awesome.
and we have tons of support from friends, family, community. It's been awesome.
That's
So,
great.
I definitely feel this is a great place if you have a bad day because I'm sure you've seen me and my friend after work.
oh
I'm just
sure,
like, oh my god, it's just a Lake Pleasant day.
Yeah.
It's just like you feel like you can come and decompress, and it's the atmosphere and the vibe's not pretentious or anything. It's just like drinking a beer at home, except with a way better selection.
yeah.
But
We wanted to create a safe place, and to us, craft beer doesn't have, opinions on affiliations, political, religion,
Right.
anything like
Right.
that. We have our beliefs, we have our things outside of these four walls. But being in here, this is a safe place for everybody.
Yes.
So
That's great. So with the because you mentioned the German beers, the German styles, which you guys again, I love coming here because I'm like I get to get those good classic
Love it.
styles that you
Love
can't
it.
get anywhere else, and they're done so well. But you've had to kind of expand into different areas, and we talked a little about the seltzer. So what trend have you seen as far as the seltzer goes? Like what prompted you guys to start digging into that creatively?
So Nick and I try and do a couple of trips a year where we'll make it into like Southern California or Northern California, Colorado, things like that. They have a tendency to sort of set the pace in a lot of ways and see the trends maybe a little bit before we do.
Mm.
We were at a brewery in Denver, or maybe it wasn't Denver, in the Denver area, called Upslope. And they had a couple of different seltzer lines, including one that they called their Sipper series or Hard Sipper. It was somewhere between like a 12 and a 16% seltzer that was served on ice, garnished.
Wow.
And it was kind of like a cocktail.
Yeah.
So we saw that, and we've been working towards something like that, which we'll hopefully have soon. But just seeing that a seltzer could be good and not feel generic. There, again, with making them, there's a lot of off flavors. There's kind of a rotten egg smell that comes
Mhm.
from fermentation.
Sulfur. Yeah.
It's tough to get that out. So we've had to buy some relatively expensive equipment to try and strip that and do it correct. And
Yeah.
you want it to be clear, you want it to be presentable. We're big on kind of drinking with your eyes, and love seeing the clear beers. They present well, they drink
Mhm.
better, they save better. So with everything that we've invested into it now, obviously we're getting closer and closer to where we want to be. But Upslope was a big eye opener for us. Where we saw it could actually be delicious
Yeah.
and refreshing. And it's like, you know what, I'm not in the mood for a beer, but I want something,
Something.
or I want to go to a
Something
place
that's
and
refreshing.
my
Something
buddies are
that's
going to have a
crisp.
beer and I want to have something.
Yeah,
So it
exactly.
was kind of cool to see that. And then recently, Nick and I did a trip down into Southern California, into the LA area.
Okay.
And almost everywhere we went, there were about 3 or 4 different seltzers on tap at each brewery. I mean, they were we make ours very traditional. And I say traditional, it's not really a traditional style, but just like the 5% clear, easy drinking, refreshing, not sweet. But a lot of the ones that we saw were definitely more craft, heavily fruited,
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 9%. So a lot of kind of that craft flair getting thrown onto the seltzer lines just to be different, or
Right.
create something kind of cool or unique. So we've seen that from a lot of different places, and over the last year and a half, it's always been in the conversation to try and make more, do more, make them better. We have them pretty well dialed in, but we're again always trying
Always
to
pushing. Always trying to
always trying to
improve.
find a way to make it better,
Yeah.
or get getting feedback from what people want, and overwhelmingly, the feedback is positive. Obviously, the flavors are a little bit tough. I don't like black cherry. I don't like coconut. That we can't do anything about that. But we keep one on tap. It started as an option for gluten free, because we can't have ciders or anything under our liquor license. So
Oh,
we're able
okay.
to make these to have a gluten free option for people, or something they want a little more low calorie. That's why we definitely keep one on all the time. But there's been talks of maybe trying to work on another. But we keep our tap lines pretty full. We have 20 taps and they're constantly full. So
Yeah.
to add another seltzer means we got to take a beer down.
Right.
So that's a tough decision
That
to
is a
make.
tough
But
decision. Well, what I like about the craft ciders, especially the way that you guys do them too, it's way different than what you can get commercially,
Mhm.
because commercially they're taking a green alcohol, putting some water and some flavoring and whatever. They're not actually fermenting it out, and so it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper to do it that way. But I don't think the flavor is quite the same. So actually having to go through and ferment and go through all the trouble you guys do, I think makes a difference in the seltzer, and it makes it something you can't just go to the store and buy. You
yeah,
have to come in and be like,
a lot of the large name people started making seltzers, and you saw, Corona had one, or,
yeah,
Bud Light had one. Everybody kind of jumped on the seltzer train, but it all felt very generic and
yes,
commercial. And,
yeah,
a lot of them, I think, flopped because of that.
yeah,
So, eh,
Yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between this and like a commercially fermented cider or excuse me, a seltzer. It tastes clean and it doesn't have that generic kind of
sure.
aftertaste. I don't know what it is about, like, even you look at like a Truly's or a White Claw or anything like that, and it just has there's a certain flavor that you can just automatically tell.
it's just probably the
It's
artificial
not, yeah,
flavoring,
like this tastes very
maybe,
natural.
yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
try and avoid, we do some extracts. Extracts have a tendency to feel kind of medicinal. So
Mhm.
it tastes like medicine. So we try and avoid those whenever possible. We'll use real fruits when we can, but sometimes we use, Amaretti does a beverage infusion.
Oh,
That's kind of a unique flavor for, a lot of these seltzers, and those we've had a lot of good success with.
yeah, no, it's great, and the fact you guys are innovating and continuing to kind of stay ahead and make sure that whoever comes in, they have an option.
Sure.
It's not just beer,
And I think it kind of shows you the difference in how craft beer has evolved, because even I don't want to sound like a snob, but when I was heavily into craft beer and going to breweries, I think it was almost kind of like looked frowned upon if you're not drinking a beer at a brewery, like,
Absolutely.
and I think I see a lot of guys drinking seltzers, and there's no shame in that. But I think there's this stigma, right? Like back in the day, you're not drinking like the big beers, the IPAs, and you're not a real beer fan. But I feel
Sure.
like this gives you another option, which is nice. But even me, like, I'm like, I feel bad. I'm sorry, I'm ordering a seltzer, but I have to get over that stigma,
yeah.
you know?
There's a lot of purists out there that will always turn their nose up at him, and that's okay. That's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
What do you feel is one of your most popular beers that people tend to gravitate towards?
Our number one beer since we've opened has been Pleasantly Hazy. It's our
Yes.
house hazy IPA.
It is pretty
That's
good.
Christy's favorite.
Yeah,
Oh.
delicious
that one
beer. Nick and I spent a lot of time tweaking that recipe. I want to say it was probably the 12th change on that recipe before we got it to where we were happy with it. And
Yeah.
that's when we introduced it here at the brewery when we opened. So that was one of the original 6 that we opened with, and it's been on tap ever since. So
And so that's the most popular one. What
by
else?
far.
What else is kind of what styles? I guess is it IPA still the style of
Yeah,
choice?
hazy IPAs are always the quickest to go. We're seeing another trend of maybe a comeback on the West Coast IPAs. So we've
Okay.
been trying to introduce a few more, and trying to kind of find a groove in those. So you'll usually see one. We always have Diamondback IPA on. That's our
Mhm.
house West Coast
That's a good
IPA,
one.
but we're
Yeah.
trying to also introduce more. So we try and have at least 2 West Coasts on. At any time, we'll have 2 or 3 hazies on, if not more. Usually the collab beers that we do with people, they usually gravitate towards hazies because
Yeah.
they do sell
Right.
the best. And they're delicious when they're fresh. You want to drink them fresh, so it is good that they sell fast. But yeah, hazy IPAs are definitely going to be probably a top seller for a long time.
For a long time.
For a long
That's not
time,
going
yeah.
away anytime soon.
But we do really well. All of our seasonal stuff does really well. Since Oktoberfest or since we released our Marzen, it's basically been our number one seller in the brewery every day. So that one's moving pretty quick. Our fest beer is doing really well. Our Hefeweizen always does well. So love that beer.
I'll have to try your Hefeweizen at some point. I'm not a fan of the style. Just I don't like
Sure.
that. That's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people have trouble getting past the banana and clove
and
flavors that come with
that
it.
combo
So
there is not my from the yeast. I'm not a fan. But
yeah,
I'll have to
ours is
try
more
it.
banana than clove, but
Okay.
but yeah, it's an easy drinker.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I did a whole Oktoberfest kind of feast, and I did buy the Dunkel, and I made probably the best beer mustard ever out of that
Ooh.
beer. Although Brian, I thought was going to kill me because he's like, "Don't use that beer to cook because it's so good."
Yeah, that's not
So
a cooking beer.
yeah, but
It's a drinking beer.
it really turned out amazing because you can literally taste the flavor in the mustard and the seeds. And when I did my brats with beer, he's like, "Oh no, we're using a different beer. You're not
We're
using
not
one more
boiling that
ounce."
away.
Yeah,
No.
so
we've had a lot of people use Dunkel and the darker beers to cook with. So yeah,
I
it's
saw
cool to
someone on
see.
your
yeah.
social media did like a cake or a cupcake or something like that
Ooh.
using one of your
Maria
beers.
did a couple recently. Yeah, Nick's
Yeah.
sister made a couple recently, and they were delicious. So she everything she makes is great. So
Yeah.
Nice.
See?
Yeah.
It's okay to use beer. Good beer.
we're expanding the horizons
I
of
was-
what beer can be.
I was really hoping that you were going to say the trend of beers is going away from all these big IPAs, and now we're going back to the classic styles of beer. I was like, please. But I know.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. Yeah. I mean, I think in general, there's a lot of, we're seeing and hearing a lot of trends of younger generation not drinking beer.
Correct.
There's a lot of space on the shelves for NA beers that there wasn't before.
Mhm.
So, there's a lot of things that are trending, away from the traditional craft beer into other markets because of just demand. And, we're all trying to adapt and trying to see those trends and stay ahead of them. Non-alcoholic stuff, I don't know that we may dabble in a little bit of that eventually, but it's not anything that's really on our radar right now.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Hopefully, I was with the less popular of those hard to find styles like the Dunkels and things like that. I was hoping as people come in and they experience a really good beer or an example of that style, they'd be like, "Oh, I had no idea," and that would prompt a resurgence in that.
Nick and I both had an issue with Czech lagers for a long time where we had a few that were no good, and it's kind of where I base where what I thought that beer style was.
Mhm.
So I would avoid them when I went places because I was like, nah, this isn't going to be
Not
good.
my cup
But
of tea. Yeah.
we went to a brewery in just north of Denver. That's all they did were Czech lagers, and we went by, checked it out, and it's like, this is actually really good. So we decided to take a stab at it. We did a Czech Pilsner, then we did a Czech Amber, and they have both been overwhelmingly positive feedback
Yeah.
and great beers here. So it's a little bit tough, if you have a good sample, a good representation of the style, it can kind of maybe open your eyes to what it should be.
Should be. Yes. Yeah. Bad examples will definitely ruin it for
Oh yeah, yeah.
for the craft beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you're like, I like IPAs, but what, maybe I'll try something different. You try and you go, this isn't any good.
Right.
It's like, well, maybe that brewery's not good at making that beer.
Right. But
So-
people don't necessarily know that or understand that. So
Sure.
it's like you got to try it somewhere else, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I think what makes your Pleasantly Hazy so popular is that it's a good combination. I'm a West Coast girl through and through, but that beer is my favorite beer here. But I think it's a kind of a combo of like, it's not super hazy. It's hazy, but there's some hazies you get and it's like drinking orange juice out of a glass, where
Yeah.
I feel like yours is very balanced and it's almost kind of a good in between a West Coast and a hazy.
We've been
zone.
told, because we distribute that beer to a few different places, and we're always looking for feedback. So whenever I drop beers off, if anybody has feedback, I'm always open to it. And we've been told a few different times that it's kind of dry for an IPA, and but I mean, that's by design for us. We don't want it to
Yeah.
be overly sweet. I don't want it to be a 500 calorie beer. We ferment them fully. We try and ferment out everything that
Yeah.
we can, and but yeah, it's interesting because there's a market for those beers as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that have made a lot of money and have done very well for themselves, like the Monkish of the world and things like that, that people will, buy cases of. And, you tell your buddies, hey, I'm going to Monkish and I'm going to pick up, a case of this and a case of that. And it's, there's definitely a demand for it. We don't do many, I don't know if we've ever made a beer that I would call overly sweet, but it's not what we like to drink, and it's not what we get a whole lot of demand for.
Yeah.
So I don't really see us making a whole lot like that. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of it's a very balanced beer for what it is.
Yeah.
Not too hoppy, not too bitter. Um, yeah, not too sweet.
Well, and I think balance is definitely important since we're well on the other side of the extreme beers, I think, and so I think people are now or have been for a number of years coming back to the more balanced styles, or
Sure.
at least that's my biases anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we make a 18% Imperial IPA that sells like crazy. So I
But
don't
it's
know.
not your entire tap list.
No, no.
It's you have one out there that's you know what I mean, but it's not
Sure,
like every
sure.
single beer has to be overly hopped, overly
Right.
alcohol, all of that. You can have some moderation in there. You can have some fun stuff to do too, but like,
Absolutely.
it's not your entire lineup, which
Sure.
is good. You got a well-rounded
Try and have some for
selection.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned you guys are distributing. Are you
Mhm.
doing kegs or
We do kegs and cans.
you do? Okay.
Yeah, we distribute to I mean, it's not a huge, like, our goal in the business has never been to be the biggest. We don't want our beer to be everywhere.
Right.
I commend the shop for killing it with church music. It's a great beer. It's everywhere. Wren House and Spellbinder. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily want to be that. We're not striving to be that. So we limit our distribution to a few local spots. We'll be like, I send out a distribution list to probably 25, 30 different people, and that's it.
Okay.
So we're exclusively on tap at Mellow Mushroom here in Happy Valley. So we're always on tap there.
Okay.
They keep Pleasantly Hazy year round. They keep our Hefeweizen basically year round, and then they rotate anywhere from 1 to 3 other taps. So you'll see 2 to 5 of our beers on tap at Mellow Mushroom, Happy Valley at any time.
Okay.
Which is great. So they're one of our biggest advocates. So they take a lot of kegs up there. We know the whole crew. We love being on tap. They know us and our story, so they speak really highly of us, and they know what we're trying to do. So it's just really cool. We're trying to make sure the people that have our beer kind of know us and know how to
Well,
treat
they
it.
have the relationship with you guys. It's
Yeah.
not just here's the keg, throw it through the window.
Right.
I'm out. But they actually know who you
But
are
no,
in the
we-
story and understand.
We have a lot of people that have asked for beer, and we've done our best to accommodate as much as we can. But again, with where our production schedule's at, we can only distribute so much.
Sure.
Trevor's Liquor is another one that's been a big advocate of us. So we're in all 3 of their locations, soon to be a
Wow.
4th. So they keep us on tap. We're going to be on tap for the next 6 months at their Mayo location up in North Scottsdale. So our Hefeweizen should be there for the next 6 months. And then a variety of cans will be available there as well. So,
Well, that's great that you're able to keep your taps full and start to kind of distribute. How long have you been distributing? Has it been
I mean, we've been distributing since about 6 months in, but
6
we
months in? Okay.
really, our goal last year was to bump up distribution. So we did about as much as we wanted to last year. We bumped it up a little bit more this year, and now we're just trying to maintain with where we're at. So
Okay.
we take on a few new accounts, maybe every few months, maybe 1 account a month is what we're adding right now. But we're trying to slow it down a little bit,
Yeah. Okay.
because number one priority for us obviously is keeping beers on tap here. So.
Right. Because otherwise, if you expand, again, 1, not the goal, but 2, you lose sight of the vision, or people lose sight of the brand a little bit if suddenly you're this massive thing.
People like that we're small. We love
Yeah.
we love being in control of it.
Yes.
And the more we distribute, the less control we have over the beer.
Right.
Making sure their lines are clean, making sure they're pouring the beers correctly, or even
Carbonation is correct.
putting
yeah.
it on correctly. We've had beers that went on tap and people called it the wrong beer, and it's like, it was a West Coast IPA, and it wasn't, it said it was a hazy IPA. So it's like, and then we start getting bad feedback, things like that. So it's a little bit tough, and it's few and far between, but it's all par for the game. It's all things that we take into account. But
Yeah.
the more we distribute, the more control we give.
Giveaway, yeah, which is important because someone could be trying a beer for the first time, like, oh, I've heard about them, but I haven't made it up there. Let me try it, and
Yep.
they've got it named, or beer lines are dirty, or
But you have
dirty
the, you have
glass,
the other
or
side of that
whatever.
as well. And we've had a lot of people come in that said, hey, we went over to, Pure Sushi and had your Pleasantly Hazy over there, and it was fantastic. So we had to come by and check you out. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of that as well. So we view the distribution side not only as a little bit of, moving the beer, but it's also an
The
advertising
marketing
piece as
kind
well.
of, yeah.
So
Yeah. So there's a little risk with that, but it might have good payoff.
sure.
I will say when I did my video at Strong Beer Fest, not to take anything away from any other brewery because there's all amazing breweries here in Arizona, you guys were mentioned the most.
That's cool.
Definitely. You have
That's cool, man. We got a very unique following. It's cool. Again, it's the community behind us it's overwhelming. Like I truly am humbled all the time at how much people enjoy take pride in wearing our merchandise or talking about, oh, I love that place. You got to check it out. We hear it quite a bit, and it's really, really cool. It's, what we're doing is working. So
Yeah.
we just got to keep it rolling.
Well, so speaking of fans, I don't know if you know this, but I want to talk a little bit about kind of your can art and things that you have and the naming of the beers and stuff. Well, I saw on eBay the other day, someone is selling your beer cans. I don't know if you knew that.
That's wild.
Interesting.
Yes. Now they're empty of beer. They show holes drilled in the bottom, but
Sure.
there's the top isn't opened or anything. They're like this collector's item.
That's
It's a
awesome.
bit going between $8 and $10, and then $7
That's
shipping.
wild.
So I tried to get free shipping, but I couldn't. But yeah, I looked at it. I was like, there was a collaboration between you and Kitsune. It was like a Valentine's
Oh, yeah.
beer that
Happy
was on there that I
Valentine.
saw. Yeah, I saw a couple
Interesting.
of them that I was like, I didn't even know there was a market for that. So
Makes sense though.
but the can art is a huge thing for you.
I mean, I could
You
can
look
up.
horrified. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just thinking, I could just I could take an empty can and seam it up and put a label on it, and I
Right.
guess
$10 a
sell it.
pop. Yeah, apparently. Yeah. I don't know what this. I'm just like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like,
People,
really?
I can think of weirder things to collect,
It
but
makes
that's
sense.
But this kind of speaks to how important the can art is, which we've talked to a lot of the craft breweries, and they have people that will design their own logos, or there'll be a story that goes behind it, or who does
Sure.
your can art and things like that. Is that something you guys do?
So
or-
we use two graphic designers for our can art. It can be daunting at times trying to, because we're still on a small scale. So every new beer that we release, we had generic labels originally printed up, and we thought, all right, we'll do these for our small batch things.
Yeah.
We'll just throw a generic, Avery label that says what the beer is on it. But the more time that went on, we realized it's not good for branding. We also want to get more creative. We want to be more craft. So we create can art for every beer that we make,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Unless it's a very, very, very small batch. So we use two graphic designers. One we've been using since the beginning. She helped us design our logo. And she does most of our can art primarily. She's done a lot of her name is Felicia, and shout out to Felicia. She helped us with the merchandise, all of our shirts and everything. She's helped us with all of those. And then we also have one of our regulars, Pete, who also takes on some of our can art as well. So he's done probably about 10, 12 different labels for us. But again, yeah, we're constantly working. It's a process of having to, design the recipe and then think of a name,
Yeah.
and then think of the can art and get it all done in a timely fashion so that we can release the beer as well as, on tap and in cans at the same time. So it can be daunting at times because we're constantly making new beers. So we're trying to
keep up on that. That's
trying
a
to expand.
huge
That
creative pipeline.
that was our goal for this year, was to make as many new beers as possible. Last year was distribution. This year has been new recipes, trying to build
Okay.
up our recipe book and have, this vast scale of all these recipes so that throughout the year we can look back and say, haven't made this in a year or 2 years or 3 years.
Let's bring it
Let's make
back.
this again.
Yeah.
And obviously the process of the can art's already done.
Yes.
It's a lot easier for us at that point. So we're hoping with all the effort that's going into this year, it'll make it easier for future Nick and Dustin.
Absolutely.
So
Do you think there's room on the shelf for some empty cans to sell for your merch?
possibly.
I
I mean,
mean-
I have empty cans to showcase
I just-
koozies, but
It seems insane to me. It's like buy the can of beer with beer in it.
right.
You'll be better off.
How did you stumble upon this again? That was a very niche thing.
I don't know why it popped
Were
up.
you searching for it?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't know why it popped up.
He's got a
Like,
large collection of
need to-
cans. in
Yeah.
I
his
do. I
house.
do.
Yeah.
I was my opportunity to push it out on the podcast. Thanks, Christy. She ruins everything for me. God. No, I just thought I saw that and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I guess
Huh?
people will collect
For
anything.
collectors,
yeah.
right? I don't know. They're like Beanie Babies. But with the pop not top, it's like the tag, you know. Right. Okay, hoarders, yeah, whatever.
To each their own.
Right. so with you kind of bringing people in, right? So you've obviously got the good beer. We've got a good environment. Everybody knows who the family is, and they come in a lot. Nowadays it really isn't enough to have good beer on tap to be bringing people in. But you guys do quite a bit to welcome families and things with the space that you have,
Yeah.
the video games. But you guys do like activities and things or events as well.
We try and host at least one event a month. That's been our goal for this year. So we still have a few left for this year. We have an emo party coming up. So that
I saw that on Instagram.
Wait,
I
like
didn't get a
emo?
chance to read it though. What's an emo?
That's
so
hilarious.
well
Because Christy might come.
this is out.
Oh, count me in.
Nick's,
I saw that poster. I'm like, I know what I'm doing October 25th.
Nick's wife, she was the catalyst behind all of it. So for me, when I thought emo, I immediately went to goth.
That's
That's
where
what
my
I was
brain
thinking.
That's what
Yes.
that's what I thought it was,
Yes.
and apparently I was wrong.
Oh.
So
Oh.
it's more of kind of that, like, it wasn't a phase, 90s alternative. I guess a little bit of like the nail polish and eyeshadow and the hair over the eyes kind of thing. I feel like an old man when I say things where it's like, I don't understand this, but we're always trying to do something different or fun. And we try and do it once a month just so that it doesn't feel like it's all the time. But yeah,
Okay.
the one coming up next is the emo party.
Emo party.
Panic
Emo
at a
party.
Disco.
Yeah,
Yep,
I was
exactly.
saying like Fallout
Exactly.
Boy,
Yep.
Dashboard Confessional.
You got it.
Right.
It'll be playing the whole day. So
That's emo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
emo.
old.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
God.
right there with
Those bands are in your playlist.
Yeah, but I didn't have the black nails or the
No, but it's not anyway. I'll.
life is
it's not just a
pain.
phase.
It's a lifestyle.
So
Skinny jeans.
but yeah, we've the original idea was always to create a family friendly space.
Yes.
Somewhere that, people feel welcome. Nick and I, we can both tell stories of times we've been on vacation and tried to go to a brewery that wasn't family friendly. And it makes for a tough time because you want to sit down, enjoy your time and have a beer or two. And then, there's nothing for your kids to do. There's
Right.
nothing, you're constantly trying to keep them entertained. So, we're definitely a family friendly environment. I think that's been a big part of our success as well.
Yes.
We have a lot of people that ask to reserve spaces in the brewery to host parties, graduations, birthdays, things like that, which we're all about. So
That's great. Well, the way you guys utilize the space is
It's really
phenomenal.
cool.
Yes.
we have filled it in a lot faster than we had expected. The whole back area with the grass and everything, that was all the original intention was to be all production.
Yeah.
But obviously it's kind of morphed into more of a customer space and we work around it as needed. But yeah, it's been kind of cool. I think we could probably use a little more room. But for now, it's
a
working
little
great.
more room for the production or for the
Just in general.
Oh, okay.
Just in general.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
JB, you got to know the craft ladies pretty well, didn't you? That one
Yeah,
time?
they're really cool. They're really
Yeah,
nice ladies.
It was really
Yeah.
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
about once a month we host a craft night. We also have an exercise class that comes in about once a month as well, called Pound and Pint. So yeah, it's a regular thing for us. Just we're trying to be, again, more than just beer.
Right.
So
My friends come here every once in a while. And we play your video games too as well.
kind of living
The
out my
beer.
childhood back
Yeah,
there.
pretty
So
much.
I got a new one that's been sitting at home. I've just been waiting to bring it in. So
A
I
new
have
machine, arcade
a
machine.
new arcade machine. Yeah,
Can
Really?
you
I
say
got
what
a
it is,
stand
or
up
you're trying to keep it secret?
Stand Up Crazy Taxi, which I'd been looking for a long time. There's still a few that I want to add to the collection, but I'm also running out of room. So
Fair.
Wow, that's awesome.
That is a
I'm
staple,
excited.
though.
You have to let us know when that comes. We'll have to come down and
it's ready. I
It's
just
ready. You just gotta
gotta
find a
I just
space.
gotta I gotta find time to put it in my truck and get it down here.
Is it gonna be
these old
like-
cabs are so heavy.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Is it going to be like with the video game, same as the taps? Like, if I put this game on, I got to take one off. So
at
you
this
have
point,
to rotate
yes.
the games.
At this point, yes. So we have a golden tee that's been operable for a while. The monitor went out, and I've just been I've been trying to find time to fix it,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been a priority. So it'll take its place. I'll fix the golden tee, and then we'll figure out what to do from there.
Do you find a lot of people get really kind of excited about going and playing certain of the?
There's some
games?
people,
There are?
yeah. You see their face light up, like I haven't seen this game in centuries.
Right.
You
It
know?
might be a
and
fun
it's really-
rotation to announce too, like, hey, we're bringing back Galaga. It's in for the next
Oh my
month or whatever, you know.
if I had a place to store them or put them, yeah,
Oh,
I
guess
might
that's true.
consider.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
They're so big and bulky. It's really
Yes.
tough. And if I got them, they might as well be working. So
Well, and it's probably
I
not
don't
going to
know.
be moving around a lot
Yeah, I mean, if I'm moving it around in the building, that's not so bad. I could
Sure.
just throw it on a
On
dolly.
your
But if
car,
I'm
your
taking it
truck.
to my house or anything like that, they're
You
heavy.
don't want to
It's
shake it
daunting.
loose or have it, quit working on you.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of old parts in there. So a lot of
exactly.
these cabinets are 20 to 30, even older
Yeah,
years old.
yeah. That's really neat. How have things been with kind of the food trucks? Because that's something I think that a lot of breweries utilize now, so that
Yeah.
you don't need to have a kitchen, you're not running a restaurant, you can focus on the brewery operations and building your community. But I know sometimes the food trucks can be challenging. How has it been for? Because you guys have a perfect spot, obviously planned to have them park right out front.
Yeah. It's been really good. It's been a work in progress for a long time. Allie's done a great job of scheduling with all the food trucks. We have a very good lineup of people that we like having all the time. Thankfully, we've created kind of a culture of if you're here, there will be food.
Yes.
A lot of times it's tough to get people scheduled during the week because it's just not busy enough, and we
Yeah.
completely understand that. So it needs to be mutually beneficial for both of
Oh,
us.
of
That
course.
we take it very personally. If we're slow, that obviously that affects them as well.
Right.
But we have great relationships with a lot of them. Most of them, I think, don't take any of it personally. If we are slow, you
Yeah.
got to take the good with the bad, the same as we do. So, but no, it's been really, really good. So overwhelmingly, we even had throughout the summer. This was the first time ever that we had a food truck every day through summer.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
really tough to do with how hot it gets out here in Arizona. And so yeah, it's a testament to our customers and what we've tried to create, because this was the original idea that
Hmm.
we would run the beer, we would try and be experts as much as we could into the beer, but I don't want to manage a kitchen, I don't want to make the
Right.
It's a
food, we
lot.
want to have other
Right.
people handle that. And it's a neat thing to have the variety of different food trucks each day,
Yes.
something different. And I think it's been adopted and accepted very well
Hmm.
by our customer base. We'll look around, and even on our slow days, almost every table will have food on it.
Yeah.
So it's really
Which is
cool that.
great for the food trucks. That
Yep,
really, yes,
yep.
keeps them coming
One of
back.
my favorites that you had, it was a while ago. I don't know if you've had him recently. Was a pizza oven guy. This was like
Uh,
maybe a year ago almost.
so we have a couple of different pizza. Are you talking about?
It was like him and his son were working, and they actually had a pizza oven out there.
Trying to think. So we have Cheesy's, who's a regular for
Hmm.
us. It's on a big red trailer. So
Right.
it's a big brick oven, wood fire pizza oven that they use. They go up north for the summertime just because it's so hot, but they're
Hmm.
back now. So we host them, if that's the one that you were referring to. They're one of our favorites. So we
Right.
keep them on quite a bit. I think they'll actually be here tonight.
Ooh. Oh, I gotta
Oh, you
work.
got to work.
I'm gonna call out sick.
Yeah, right. Worth it.
Don't worry, this isn't going to air
It's a
for a little
good
bit,
thing
so they
that's
won't
not on
know.
record. Call you into HR. Listen, JB, about your call off. We have video evidence.
Careful.
Busted.
uh,
No, I'm glad that's worked, because I've heard that sometimes it can be a struggle depending on the food trucks, and then things happen too. Out of the food truck's control, flat tires, engine
Sure.
trouble, or they're sick or something, and you're relying on that truck to come in. And I mean, you can't really get a last minute replacement because they're already booked
There are
somewhere
some
else.
guys. There's some guys that we reach out if we have enough time with a cancellation. We'll try
Yeah.
and fill it if we can. But I mean, there's so much prep that goes in for them.
Yes.
With buying the food and getting everything ready to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's really unfortunate when they have to cancel. Most of these guys, it's a flat tire, it's a bad generator, it's something like that. So it's definitely outside of their control, and we completely understand it. So.
Mm. Absolutely. Any have you guys already planning your next anniversary in February? Do you have anything that you're thinking about? Or are you not, if you can't talk
So
about it, I want to,
no, not yet. It's always tough because we're trying to look forward, we're trying to plan, but we're also trying to make sure we're focused on things going on right
in the
now. But
present day. Yeah.
it's something that Nick and I have been it's been kind of chatted about a little bit, but nothing has been done officially. So it'll be most likely in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Things will be
I mean, we're
talked
several
about, and
months out, so it's a little far, but I was just curious as
yeah,
to.
we have a general idea of a couple of beers that we're going to release. But no, I mean, the specifics on it, we haven't quite gotten to it yet, but we're close. So it'll be something that'll be most likely pen to paper
Mhm.
in the next few weeks, and then start moving forward on it. I mean, some of these beers take a while to make, so
Yeah.
we got to really plan ahead.
Right. Make sure you got the space and
But yeah,
capacity.
nothing specific yet, but soon.
Soon. Okay. That'll be interesting. You're speaking of different things you guys are releasing. So you guys have dabbled a little bit in sours, and you've got some barrel aging stuff.
Yes. So we have most likely one of the beers that we're going to release is going to be a barrel-aged sour.
Okay.
We brewed it, I want to say it's been a little over a year, so not last June, or not this most recent June, but the June prior. We did a collaboration beer with Smeltertown up in Clarkdale. They're good friends of ours.
Yeah.
But that'll most likely be one of the releases for us. That was our batch number 100 that we made here. So kind of a special beer for us, but
Yeah.
also a very special beer. So it's a brown ale that we aged in red blend barrels from Burning Tree, or previously Burning Tree. It's now called Rubrics.
Okay.
Shout out to Corey.
Hmm.
Got the barrels from Corey. They've been in the barrels for a little over a year. But brown ale, aged on tart cherries, and we added a couple of different bacteria blends and yeast, and it's specific yeast strain to kind of add a certain funkiness to it.
And it's been
So,
chugging along for a year, you said, in the barrel?
little over a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So June, what are we? June, July. So 15 months in the barrel now.
That's nice.
Have you been sampling or pulling anything off,
yeah.
or you're just letting it? Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. It's delicious.
So,
Oh.
already.
Yeah. I can't wait for it to be done.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it's pretty much ready to go. We just got to put the finishing touches on it. So
Okay.
we'll condition it. We'll clean it up. We have equipment and stuff. So with
Is
the
that
yeast
what,
strain.
are all of those over there?
So the 3 on the right over there, the ones that say BT for Burning Tree,
Okay.
those are the 3. So
Okay.
we'll have a good amount of it. There's a chance maybe we'll distribute a little bit of it. I'm not sure, but half of the batch is going to go to Smeltertown.
Yeah.
Half of the batch is going to go to us. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Doesn't have a name yet, but
Okay. Well, you got time.
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, I
That
know
would
that.
be a cool name.
Yeah.
You got time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that you definitely want to make sure everyone can enjoy your beer, but have you ever thought about doing like a barrel age program or anything like that? I know a lot of places do like a program where you're part of the club and you can get special beers that you can't otherwise or anything like that.
So we've talked about it. So we do have a membership program here. We call it the BrewCrew.
Okay.
So with your membership, you get early access to beers. So beer releases, you'll have access to it first. We haven't done, and we have a really hard time with it, but I haven't done any beers that are exclusive to our members. Nick and I have a hard time excluding,
Yeah.
like solely excluding.
We appreciate that.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
It's tough for us, but I also understand the other side of it, where you want your membership to be exclusive. So we're trying to find other ways around it. But
I mean, that's tough because you want it to be worth the membership, right?
Sure.
But you don't want to exclude anybody.
Right.
But you want to be exclusive. I mean, that's a tricky area to navigate.
It's really tough. We're trying to keep everybody's feelings in mind, but at the same time, people do buy into the membership. It's not a free
Sure.
membership. So
Yeah.
we offer discounts to our members. They get upgraded pours. So you pay for a pint, you get a 20 ounce and a member glass, things like that.
Oh.
So it has a lot of benefits. I don't know that we're going to change it at all for next year. We're probably going to keep it the same. So we do sell out every year, which is great. Again, another testament to how awesome our community is. So right now we have 150 members. We started in our first year with 100, so we bumped it up just to get a few more
Is there a
going.
but is there a wait list for the club?
We don't have a wait list.
Okay.
Kind of how we handle is through November 1st up to Thanksgiving, we give our members time to renew. So they get first right to renew.
Okay.
If they choose not to, then we release those memberships on Black Friday. So Black Friday is our day to sell memberships and things like that.
And then once you get back to the 150, then it's
done.
closed and
Then it's
there's no
done.
wait list. You got to I like the Black Friday idea. That's a good idea.
It was crazy the first year we did it because Nick and I have never been huge like membership people, but overwhelmingly had a lot of people that wanted to be a part of this community. And so we decided to, open it up and create this membership program. And we did it on Black Friday and it was nuts. We had a line around the building,
Really?
basically. Yeah, we had, I think, maybe 60, 70 people waiting at the door
Wow.
when we opened. It was crazy.
That's
I could
flattering.
I could not believe it.
Wow.
I could not believe it. So it was really cool.
Do you mind if I ask for this year's Black Friday, what would be the cost for the membership for the year?
So the membership cost is $150 for the year.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
$150. You get a $25 gift card or your choice of a shirt or a hat. and then you'll get 15% off of merchandise and all to go beer.
Yeah.
Again, you pay for a pint, you get upgraded to a 20-ounce member glass. We have member only parties.
Yeah. Wow.
Early releases to beers, stuff like that.
Well, and if you sell enough cans, then your membership's paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a win-win. Sorry.
Touche.
The look on your face when I mentioned that, it was just, I broke your brain for a second.
Like I said, it's people, I can think of weirder things to collect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah. But I hadn't heard of that, though. I thought that was interesting. So anyways.
Mhm.
But no,
I
we're
wonder how
excited
they're
for
selling.
we're excited for your anniversary that's coming up and things, and we're so happy that you guys are in the community, and we appreciate you so much, kind of letting us come in and hang out with you today, and definitely let us know when you start tapping those barrels. Oh, actually, that was the other question I had. So you have some sours and things. Do you have anything non-soured that's in the barrels?
So we have 4 barrels that are full of a Imperial Stout,
Okay.
Ooh.
Big Russian Imperial Stout. So
Oh, those are good on
Oh.
oak. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
we have two different blends, so we haven't decided how we're going to blend them, or if we're going to keep them separate yet. But we'll have a lot of those. Those will most likely be another anniversary release.
Okay.
We have a blend of a brown ale and an Imperial Stout that went into a Buffalo Trace barrel that I'm very excited about. That's a
Wow.
single barrel. It's going to be a pretty short supply beer, but that one's going to be fantastic. Hopefully we can get it done by anniversary, but we'll see.
Wow. Oh, that's gonna be exciting. That'll be a good anniversary.
We love barrel aged beers, so we're trying to make a bunch of
Yes.
them. We have 3 fooders in the back, so that's the larger wood aging vessels. So
Mhm.
those are all full right now. We'll have some decisions to make on those pretty soon as well. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a fooder beer out as well.
That'd be good. That'd be exciting for the anniversary too. Yeah, that's
I'll be
awesome.
back for those stouts.
Heck
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Imperial
Stouts.
Stout on oak. Oh yeah. Oh, that's like my favorite.
Doesn't get any better.
Oh no, definitely not. Awesome. Thank you so much again for allowing us to come and interrupt your day. I thought this was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good conversation, a lot of good things, and we're excited to see what's coming for the future with you guys, because you're trying to stay ahead of trends and you're always trying to push and improve the beers that you have, and your beers are phenomenal as it is. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys can do and kind of take it to the next level and see how your community continues to grow, because really, I mean, 2.5 years is really kind of young from a brewery standpoint as far as opening up, but you guys have just been absolutely amazing for the community and having so many wonderful fans that have bought your merch.
Yeah. No, thank you for that.
Yeah,
or
no,
cans
absolutely.
online.
Or cans online, apparently at ebay.com/Benham No, but we appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for the beers. Thank you so much for the conversations. We'll definitely have to come back again in a little bit, and maybe we could do a little bit of thing for your anniversary. And I know the month is going to be busy, so we won't take away a day, but we might come
Sure.
down with some cameras and maybe
Yeah.
shoot some footage and
That'll be fun.
take a look at it. I think it'd be awesome with
Yeah.
everything you guys do. We do a lot of great stuff, so we
No,
appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad to have you guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Catch you later, my friends.